Greetings. I don't know if you'll ever hear it. When I replay my videos, I'm like, oh, I didn't hear that. Like, I don't hear, like, the raspiness in my voice. Maybe are like, oh, we've been hearing that. Hola, mundo. I am on break at work, and I was like, oh, I need to film a video. And I just wanted to do a real quick video. I always say that, but they're like 30 minutes long. Just kidding. But I wanted to do a real quick video. I was watching something on Facebook and I was like, oh my gosh, that reminds me of an instance, like something that had happened recently here at work. And so what happened was, okay, so I speak Spanish, as y'all know. I honestly don't feel like I'm the best Spanish speaker in the world, but I try. I make efforts, right? Like, you know, I do what I do. I'm not horrible, honestly, but I'm a lot better than what I say I am. In terms of me speaking Spanish. Ooh, I'm so sorry. So anyways, so I do speak Spanish to customers, and I'm in Texas, Central Texas, and it's a heavy Hispanic population, and because I work in retail, we get a lot of traffic from Mexico and from Spanish-speaking people in particular. But anyways, so I just recall this one shift in particular, and this was maybe about like 3-4 weeks ago, and most of the time, like, people will reach out and be like, "Hablas español?" Or they'll just start talking to me in Spanish, and "¿Dónde están los probadores?" or so on and so forth, and I'm just like, oh, okay, you know, I'll help where I can. And so this instance, I was at the register, and these customers were checking out, and they were trying to speak English, and you can tell that their English was it was weak, it wasn't strong. And most of the time I'm like, you know, I'm a firm believer, if you need help, most of the time, like outside of work, like if you need help, you have to humble yourself and you have to ask for help, you know, and so on and so forth. And I don't like to presume that people speak a certain language, so I will by default always speak English, and if people ask me or if they start speaking to me, then I'll do what I need to do. So anyways, you can tell that they were kind of fumbling, and so I just started speaking Spanish to them, and then they're like, oh, you know, and they were doing that, but they were still kind of quiet about it, and I was just like, okay. So I was just like talking to them and conversing and finishing the transaction, and they're like, oh, like we don't want to draw attention to ourselves. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? They're like, we don't want to like speak Spanish because we don't know if ICE will be called on us. And I was shocked. I was like freaking appalled. Like, I don't know, and I'm not going to assume that they were actually from Mexico. I'm not going to assume that they were illegal. I'm not going to assume they were legal. I'm just like, I work in retail. Like, my job is to sell. Like, I don't care. I legit don't care. Like, you know, my job is, when I'm at work, to do selling, to provide excellent, amazing, beyond, out of this world customer service. And I do that. At least I think so. But anyways, I was just like in shock. I was like, what? They're like, yeah, like, you know, we don't want to speak Spanish because we don't want like ICE to be called on us. And I was just like, I gasped, and I was in shock. So what I ended up doing was I was just like, and I told them in Spanish, I was like, oh, like, don't worry about it. Like, I don't know what I would be able to do, but I was just like, no, don't worry about it. Like, I'm going to speak Spanish if you understand Spanish, and it's fine. And I dare someone to call, like, in my workplace, I dare someone to call the police because we're speaking Spanish, because I will get fired for things, because I just felt so upset, and I felt so, I guess maybe powerless is the word, that's what we've come to as a society, where it's just like, oh, I hear you speak a foreign language, so I'm going to assume that you're someone who is violating my well-being, so I have to call the police to get you out of my space. Like, that's the most simplest way I can put it. And I was really appalled. I was really in shock, and just said, you know, I hope you have a great day. Espero que todo está bien en tu vida. No te preocupas, pero estoy aquí para ayudarte. And that was pretty much what it was. And it just, like I said, it caught me by shock. But, you know, wow. Like, what is the world coming to? That was just a real quick story. And I'm just like, have things like that happened to y'all? I know personally, during the holiday season when my partner and I were together, whenever we'd go out shopping, like in the same area that I work, he's darker skinned than I am, so most of the time, like, people would come up to us and they'd start speaking Spanish. Everywhere we'd go, like, we wouldn't even say a word necessarily, and then they just introduce, like, hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿Estás buscando algo en particular? Or something to that lines, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And he'd be like, hi, and he doesn't speak Spanish. He doesn't speak Spanish, so I was just like, I was over it. But anyways, experiences, things like that happen to y'all? Questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, reactions. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what things have happened to you. Do people presume you speak any certain languages? French? This has just caught me. Like, I'm still waking up. I worked at 5 a.m. this morning. And it's been less than 5 hours. And I'm like, But anyways, let me know. What are your experiences like with foreign language? Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.